Hi guys, and welcome to the third podcast episode. And as I have posted everywhere, today is the episode about confidence. Confidence in yourself, but also like in your work and everything that's kind of surrounding it. Today I have my notes right here in my lab, so if I look down, that's where my notes are. And yeah, so let's get right into it. Also, I'm Viola, I'm a photographer based in Austria. I need to get used to like having an intro. And yeah, today we're gonna talk about confidence, and I'm not gonna like talk around it. We're just gonna get right into it. I have, I think, 3 or 4 points written down, and I'm just gonna elaborate on each one of them a little bit. And yeah, also kind of, I guess, a disclaimer. Some of them are like written around myself because obviously those are the only experiences that I have. But you can just, I guess, mix them up a little bit or like apply your own experiences to them, or your own problems, and it should still like work just fine. So let's get right into it. Number 1 is that you don't know like the backstory of other photographers. For me personally, this hits really hard when I look at, I don't know, Tamara Williams, for example. She's like, I think like almost 30. Yeah, and I'm 22. So like she has so many more years experience than I do. I don't know how much like she works every day. I don't know how long she's been doing it. I don't know, maybe she's been doing it since she was 10 years old, and I would give her like 20 years of like in the business, you know. And so a lot of photographers that I personally compare myself to are a lot older than me, or like not a lot, but like 5 or 10 years. But 5 years in this industry, so much can change. Literally like 1 year can change everything in this industry. So I feel like having like a 5-year advantage, I'm just gonna call it, already makes such a big difference. And I guess I should just compare myself to people my age, or better not compare myself at all, because, and I'm gonna talk about that later too, nobody is you, and like that's your like strength and power, and that's what makes you like special in the industry. So you shouldn't even try to be like anybody else anyways. But yeah, so when you're like comparing yourself to anybody else, just keep in mind that they might have more experience, they've been in the industry for longer, maybe they, I don't know, have other different like connections, maybe I don't know, there's like so many things that go into this that you probably don't know. So just be aware of them, and don't like get down on yourself if you're not Tamara Williams yet, because you shouldn't be her anyway, because she's her and you're, you know. Anyways, so let's move on. So another point that's kind of on comparison that I think just sucks so much, and I can't get it like out of my brain, is that if you know how a photo was created, and like you know everything that went into the process, and you yourself worked on it, you're probably not gonna see it as professional as it is. So for me personally, I take like 90 or like 80% of all my images in this room, like in my living room, because I'm just lazy and I don't want to like drive somewhere, like rent a studio. I mean, I do have a studio, but it would be like a 30-minute drive there, and I don't know, I just don't want to, so I just take most of my photos here. And before I moved here, so like, I don't know, like 2-3 years ago, when I was still living with my dad, I had like a home studio there, and that's where I shot all of my images. And we did like a campaign there in the home studio, like a big campaign that was like published, and it's like in, not like a magazine, I'm gonna show you a photo, like anyways, it was just like a big campaign for this brand, and we shot it in my home studio. And because I was like literally like living there, it was my home, it will never feel as professional as any other campaign that I see anywhere on the internet. Because if you see a campaign, you like instantly think, oh, this must be like taken in a big studio, so many people, like the whole team, the set, 15 makeup artists, I don't know, like all of that. But for me personally, that's not like how I work. And so my work, to me personally, will probably never like look or feel as professional, just because I know how I took the images. And for me, like I said, it sucks that we kind of think this way, but for me, images that are taken in a living room are just feel less professional than images that are taken in like a studio, and you literally cannot see a difference. Like if I were to shoot in a huge studio with like all these, I don't know, additional lights, additional team members, I don't know, my images would not turn out any different. Like there would be no difference in them at all. And so yeah, just keep in mind that if you know how like the shoot went and all of the work that went into the photo, and maybe how like casual the shoot was, and like how, I don't want to say unprofessional, but I think you know what I mean. And all of these things come together and they just make you feel like your photos aren't as professional as somebody else's, which like it doesn't make any sense because they are, because there literally is no difference. Like if you shoot photos in a living room or like in front of any other white wall, what's the difference? Nothing. So yeah, just wanted to talk about that too, that don't like get down on yourself because you don't have as much experience, or like you're 10 years younger than the people you're comparing yourself to, or you just view your work differently just because you know like all the production that went into it and you don't see that with other people. And I personally, like I've seen, let's say Tamara Williams again, I've seen her like behind the scenes stuff. It's also taken in a living room, but if I look at her photos, I just instantly think like big studio, very professional stuff, even though it might not be taken there either. So yeah, don't compare yourself, basically. Number 2 is, what's the point of creating something that's already out there? Again, with like kind of comparing yourself, I know that like with Pinterest and Instagram and stuff, we obviously get like inspired by other photographers and their work, but we should never like exactly copy it. Let's just take beauty photography as an example again. Obviously there's like this pose that everybody does, and you like, you can't, like you can just do this pose but you can't do anything else with it, you know. But just try to like not exactly copy like looks and poses and models and all of that. Like if you copy every single thing from like a photo, it's not like your photo, you know, because it's just a copy of somebody else's work. And what's the point in creating something that's already out there? Like, do you want to be a copy? Probably not. You want to be like your own creative, your own photographer, your own artwork, whatever. So yeah, get inspired but don't copy, because that's just, it just doesn't make any sense. Also, the industry doesn't need like 2 people of like the exact same type of work. Let's take Tamara Williams again. If I were to copy her exact work, nobody would book me because she's already out there, she's doing what she does. Why would I start like coming in copying her when like she's already out there like filling her market? What am I doing there? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And if people were to book me because my work looks exactly like hers, probably book me because I'm cheaper than her, and we don't want those clients. Literally, if somebody like, unless it's like, I don't know, family, or like there's some agreement before, but if anybody asks you for like a discount, or like why it's that much, or oh no, we don't have the budget, blah blah, don't like reduce yourself to fit into their budget, because you know what your work is worth. You probably thought of something when creating a price package. So don't like downsize yourself. I've had this happen recently. Actually 2 days ago, I emailed a company, and there was like a couple of emails going back and forth, and then I sent them like my offer, and I didn't hear anything back from them, per like as usual. And then a couple of days ago I emailed them again asking if they had time to look over my offer yet, and then they emailed me that it's not in their budget, and it wasn't even like that expensive. Like it was only, I think, like 1 content shoot per month or something, so like not a lot of stuff to do there. And so it wasn't in their budget, and I could have like asked what their budget is, but I just didn't want to, because I know what my work is worth, and if my work is not in your budget, then I don't want to do it anyways, because I don't want to downsize myself or like make my work worth less than it is. So yeah, just keep them in. I feel like I'm talking like a lot today. I'm in a very talky mood. So I hope you can kind of follow me along here, but let's get to the 3rd point. Actually, one of my like favorite ones, or like not favorite ones, most hated ones, but favorite ones. It's time. If, let's just stick with Tamara Williams, I don't care. Let's say I compare myself to her, and I think, why can't I do as many shoots? Why can't I create as many videos? Why can't I host workshops like her? Why can't I like have as much work to do than she has? Basically, because I'm one person, and I also have like another job that I do, and she is like a full-time creative with probably like a whole company behind her, like personal assistant, video editing, behind the scenes filming, probably somebody who does like her bookkeeping and all of that type of stuff. Probably also somebody who manages her Instagram. Like there's so many things that go into being creative that we don't actually see like as part of the work, but you have to do all of these things. And if you are a part-time creative and you're alone, like you don't have a full team of people, obviously you can't do as much as somebody like Tamara Williams or like anybody else that's like a full-time creative with a team of people behind them can do. And so I have to remind myself that a lot, because I do photography, I do YouTube now, I try to do like reels and TikToks. I don't consistently do them because I get like, I don't know, a couple thousand views, and then I'm like, doesn't even matter, I get discouraged and I stop doing it. Then at some point I'm like, I need to do TikTok again. And yeah, so that's kind of my TikTok story, how that goes. But if I had like, I don't know, 2 people who took care of like filming, editing and posting my reels and TikToks, obviously I would have like constant content there and probably also grow faster there. But I just don't have the resources because I can't like hire people to do TikTok, you know. And so also with like shoots, there's this German photographer, Natascha Lindemann, I think is her name, and she does like all of these campaigns, and then she also has so much time to do like test shoots. And if I look at that, if I had to do like 2 campaigns a week and then also had the time to somehow do 2 test shoots, I would probably like burn out and burn myself to the ground. I don't know. But again, I have to think that maybe she doesn't even edit her own photos. Maybe she has a retoucher. Maybe there's like so many other people helping her. Maybe her shoots only take 20 minutes. Who knows? Like there's so much that you don't know about like time and how much time it goes into the work and how many people they have supporting them, that you literally you cannot compare yourself to anybody else out there because you don't know anything about anybody at all, basically. Because like what somebody posts on like their social media, it's probably not even like fully true. I don't know, like it happens even to me sometimes, like not on purpose. I like write up this to-do list that I want to do and I post it on my Instagram story, and then as the day goes by I forget about like 50% of what was on that to-do list. So people maybe like think I'm super busy when in reality I didn't even do half of the things that were on there. Yeah, so maybe it's not even like on purpose sometimes, but you literally cannot compare yourself to anybody out there. And now that we've gone over like all these kind of negative things, how can you implement that to kind of be more confident in your work? First of all, you need to tell yourself that you are good enough, that you are like worth what you want, like the money that you want for your work. That's okay, like whatever you want, it's your work, you can charge whatever you want, and it's gonna be like okay, and you're gonna find the clients that are willing to pay for your work because they want you and your work. And so you need to start telling yourself that you are a professional, that you are good enough, that you're worth what you're charging, and that nobody else, first of all, can determine your worth. If a company says that you're too expensive, you're not too expensive, it's just not in their budget. So it's like not your fault or problem or anything, because it's their problem, they can't afford your work. So yeah, basically start telling yourself that you are confident in your work, that you know that you're worth what you are charging. And also, if you're not like getting paid as a photographer yet, also don't get discouraged, because it takes like so much work until you can actually be like paid and be a full-time creative. Like I think probably like 90% of photographers in Austria are not full-time creatives. I'm just gonna say it how it is. Probably like most of those people have like, even if it's just like a little side job, but you just need kind of something that like pays your bills, gets you an insurance and all those type of things. So don't feel bad or get discouraged if you're not full-time, first of all, if you're not paid, because it can take some time. But don't, like as I said before, don't try to fit into anybody's budget, because it's their budget, not your problem, kind of. So yeah, just start telling yourself that you're confident in your work. Your work is great. You already know your work is great. You just need to like kind of tell it yourself, because if you would think your work is like shit, why would you do it, you know? So you keep going. So you obviously think good of your work. You're worth what you're charging, and don't compare yourself. That's like the biggest thing. Once you stop comparing yourself, you're gonna have so much more time for like more important things than thinking, oh my god, that photo is so much better than mine. It's somebody else's photo, not yours. Why are you comparing it? You don't even know what went into that photo. Yeah, so anyways, I also wanna like go back to not being paid for your work. I am doing photography, I've been doing studio photography for 4 or 5 years now, I wanna say. Probably 5, but like 2022 is the 5th year, so 4 years. And I haven't been getting paid up until like 2 years back, because the first like 2 years all I did was like try everything out. I'm gonna show you some photos. I started out with like a €30 ring light from Amazon. Obviously nobody will pay for those photos because I mean, they're fine for what I had back then, but they're like not really professional photos, you know. Then I had this amazing idea. I saw this Pinterest hack and I used like a flash with a plastic bag wrapped around it as a softbox flash. I don't even know what that was supposed to be. So I just gained like experience and I learned all of these things in the first 2 years, and like it's great if somebody wants to pay you for it, but probably because you are still learning, nobody's gonna. So I don't know, it shouldn't sound that negative, but like if you like don't know what you're doing yet, don't like expect people to pay you right away, and just try to gain experience. That also doesn't mean that you should do work for free. Like what I did in my studio starting out days is I would just do like model calls on my Instagram and then pick like, I don't know, 2 people per week and shoot with them. But I picked the people, I picked the looks, I picked the makeup artists, so it was kind of like my concept and not just like shooting with everybody just because they wanted free photos, you know. Yeah, so that was that. Don't get discouraged if you're not paid, but also like keep in mind that people are not gonna pay you just yet if you're still like learning. With that said, you're probably not gonna stop learning ever. Like if you stop learning, what would that mean? That you would never ever get better? And do you want to stay exactly where you are right now? Probably not. Even if your work is great, like there's always something that can be learned, either like even if it's like posing, or like you're a photographer and now you want to get into makeup, or you want to like switch up your light setup, or I don't know, there's like so many things to learn, and like technical stuff, or get a new camera and like find out new things about that, or find out new ways to work with your camera lenses. So yeah, there's like always something to learn. But if you're literally like just starting out, don't expect people to pay you like €1,000 for a photo, because you don't even know what you're doing yet. So don't get discouraged, but also don't like completely overestimate yourself. Like be realistic with it. But once you've like gained experience, as I said, never ever undercharge, because I wanted to talk about that in a different episode, but I'm just gonna do it right now, like get into it a little bit, and you can let me know if you want to hear more about it. But the photography market is kind of oversaturated, but also not. So if you have something that, or your brand, if you have like a branding that makes you stick out like in all of the photographers in Austria, let's say, then people are not gonna compare you and your prices to other people, or not as much, because they want to book you, for your brand, for your look, for all of those things. But if you are just like the generic photographer that has just like their name as their like Instagram handle and takes photos like everybody else with presets they bought from somewhere on the internet, there's nothing that makes you really special. So try to find something that makes you special, and then there's no like oversaturation of the market as much anymore. Yeah, so there's that. And then I just keep circling back to like the budget from clients. I feel like it's been kind of engraved in my head for like the past 3 days, because that one company that I had contacted said I wasn't in their budget. But it's just keep that in mind. Like it's not your problem if the budget is too small. They just can't afford you. It's not that you're too expensive, they just can't afford you. Maybe we should just stop here, because I can see that it's like 20 minutes already again. So if you want to hear more about markets and like oversaturated or not oversaturated markets and like pricing and all of that, let me know. I'll be happy to do an episode about that. I love talking about pricing because first of all, it kind of makes me angry because so many people undercharge. But yeah, I just love talking about it. So if you want to hear about that, please let me know. Subscribe if you haven't already to not miss any future episodes and videos. Please give this video a like so that I can see that you liked it. And if you want to talk about anything that I talked about today, you can also message me on Instagram. My DMs are always open. I have gotten down to 0 message requests, so I'll see your message. And yeah, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.